This is hands down the best film I've seen all year. Her is a film directed by Spike Jonze, and it stars Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. And it's about this future world where operating systems are these really high-tech intelligences that are basically kind of like humans, and you can talk to them and they can understand you, and you can have real kind of relationships with them. And it's about a man, Theodore, who falls in love with his operating system, whose name's Samantha, and she is voiced by Scarlett Johansson. This movie is about so many things that watching it, I just felt overwhelmed with how many thoughts were going through my head about just everything, about so many things. And the beginning, like just the opening of the movie, I kind of like instantly knew I was gonna love it. I already had this instant feeling that this would be like my new favorite of the year, just because it's, first of all, it looks so beautiful. This futuristic world and the world that Spike Jonze has created for this film, it's set in LA, and it's just completely breathtaking. The color palette and this look, the pristineness, the cleanness of this future, and just the pops of the color were just so like awesome. It also opens, I know Arcade Fire did the score and the soundtrack, and I love Arcade Fire, so that's just brilliant. It opens with this kind of like weird computery sounding score, and it just was really fitting, but it also just really haunting, and the music in it completely is just so haunting and fitting, and just every little aspect, just every detail of it was really just like speaking out to me so much right from the get-go. So I knew in an instant that I was gonna love it, and I'm so glad that I did end up loving it as much as I do, and I just need to watch it again and again already, because it's made me feel so many things, and I've been thinking so many things, and it's one of those movies that just, it's so relevant. It makes you think so much about your own life, your own experiences, and it's almost overwhelming to think about all that stuff while you're watching the movie, but it's so important that it lets you do that. I don't want to like completely spoil the movie, but I am going to get a little bit more into detail about this, and I'm also planning on writing a piece about it. I don't know if it's going to be for anybody or just for my own blog. I just feel like this movie has made me think about so much and makes me feel like I have so much to say. I also watched the whole thing like with this real misty-eyedness, because it just made me really kind of sad and a little bit fearful, and just really opens your eyes to this reality that it's a future in this movie, but it's really not a future, because it's something that many people experience now, and I feel like I've experienced it, I feel like I know people who've experienced it, and I feel like it's just what the world is arriving to, and it's this very large disconnect. And you see that right in the very beginning of the movie when you see Joaquin Phoenix, who's Theodore, in his job, which already, it's kind of beautiful, but it's also kind of depressing. He writes letters for people. He works for a service where people can hire him to write love letters or to write any kind of letter to anyone else. Just that aspect, that one little thing that his job was to write other people's letters, was just kind of really concerning and sad that people need someone else so strongly to express themselves. And as well, it's like a larger metaphor for what all of this is in the movie, in that we need some other means to express our emotions, and people can't really face their true emotions, and it's really easy to hide behind a computer screen or to create these relationships or these feelings that feel so strong, but at the same time are very intangible because they aren't really real. But that's what this movie questions, is are his emotions real? He's having these emotions towards an operating system and of a computer. Is that really still love? What does it mean to fall in love? Like, what are there boundaries to it? There's just so many things, like, I can't even really properly do a video review of this movie, because I feel like I'm just gonna ramble on and on and on and on, and I guess that's why I feel like I have to write something about this, because it's a rare occasion where I feel truly compelled to write down my thoughts, not even for anyone else's benefit, but just for my own, where I want to write down everything this movie made me feel so that I can confront it within myself, because it's just a very profound movie that I feel hopefully will speak to people the same way it spoke to me, but I feel like it can also be very lost on others, and that's why I would like to take the opportunity to really point out every little detail and what it meant to me, because it meant a lot to me. And so we're basically following Theodore, who is in the middle of getting a divorce from his wife, who is Catherine, and she's played by Rooney Mara. And it's a lot of flashbacks of their relationship, and it just shows that he's been really lonely for the past years. He's just going through this divorce, and he doesn't really know how to be alone. And this operating system, which we see come out, we see him before he encounters it and afterwards, and this thing kind of brightens his life, and it gives him this really true joy. And there's this one line, or this one part in the movie, where he and Amy Adams, who plays his friend, are having a conversation, and she's also befriended her operating system, and she kind of explains that, you know, it gives her joy, and if it gives you joy, like, what does it matter? I mean, we don't have that much time on Earth, so if we need these certain things to make us happy, like, who can judge what is right or wrong in happiness, is so long as it makes you happy. And that's another thing that this film provokes, is like, is there a right or wrong in love, or a right or wrong in anything, as so long as it brings you joy? Like, what does it mean? And then there's this whole other issue with Scarlett Johansson as Samantha, as the computer, the operating system, who is so rapidly developing and who longs to be a body. It's not just this one-sided thing where this man is in love with his computer. His computer is in love with him, and his computer wants to be a physical body, and she dreams of what that means to be a human being. And then it poses this whole other thing where this computer is so much more timeless and not constrained to anything, and the capabilities that she has, and the way that she can see the world, and the way that she can access so many things, it's very like technological deterministic view of the world, of how we're so reliant on technology, and how technology is developing so much where it's kind of taking over us. That's another thing this movie kind of questions as well. I can't even like, I need to make a list of like every little thing that this movie makes me question, and I didn't do that prior to this video because I just wanted it to naturally come out of me, and that's what's happening. But there's just so much happening in this movie that on the surface is just this plain love story between a man and his computer, and I think that people who don't see the movie and who only hear about it, and people who are ignorant, are gonna assume, like, what? Like, that's so weird, that's creepy, that's strange. But it's so articulately told, and it asks so many questions of us and our current society and what technology is, and it's not even just about technology, it's about love, and it's about humans, and it's about who we are, and what does it mean to be who we are, and what are our own limitations, and our own things that hold us back from feeling and from being. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm not really even reviewing this movie, but I guess it's needless to say that I love this movie. I'm in love with it. It's not just my favorite movie of the year. It's going to be a new all-time favorite. It's something I have to watch and rewatch and really figure out, because it's one of those rare films that makes me see something about myself, that makes me question something about myself, that makes me question the world around me and my place in it and what it means to be, and just all these very large philosophical questions that I think this film deals with. And you don't even have to look for them, or you don't even have to see them in the film, but I think that the subject matter itself just poses it, and it poses it in a really beautiful, subtle way. And it's not in your face about anything. It just kind of, it's on the surface, and it's up to the viewer if they want to actively engage with that or not, and I chose to, and it's made me really overwhelmed thinking about it, but it's a beautiful thing that a film can do that at all. So, Her is obviously an A+ for me, A++++, I love it. The performances are all brilliant. Scarlett Johansson does so much with her voice, and it's like, it also asks, you can fall in love with someone without a physical body. You don't need, like, love is so much more than this physical thing. He really falls in love with this person who's not even a person. It's so puzzling and bizarre, and it makes you just think so many things about what that means. And Spike Jonze, thank you so much for making this movie, and for letting people face what so many things that we've been afraid to face and that we're gonna have to face, especially with the way that the world is moving, the pace it's moving at. There's just so much in this movie. I beg you to see it and to just think about everything that this movie questions and just, oh man, I'm already overwhelmed just talking about it now, and I really, really, really want to write something about it, so I hope I get to do that, and I hope you would maybe read it if you care. But yeah, I guess I'll just have to end it here before I keep rambling, but that's my review of Her, which is a stunning, beautiful film that I think is completely necessary to see because it's rare. It's a rare thing that this film does. So, thank you so much for watching my review, and I'm Adriana. My blog is Fresh from the Theater. If you like what you see, please subscribe. Thanks so much.